Good morning, everyone. It's Sarah, and it's time for Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. And I have a silly little, I should say not little, but special guest with me today. This is Posh Pete, my Christmas elf. He's very ornery, and you can tell that by his little smirky smile, right? Now, if you want to make yourself a Posh Pete, I have the pattern online. It's videos on YouTube as well, because I think it was last year's crochet along for fall. And this particular Posh Pete is made in thick yarns, blanket yarns, and then I doubled a medium weight number 4 for his face. And he measures a big, tall 3 feet. And you're going to be seeing a lot of Posh Pete because he's my ornery elf, and he's going to be getting in all kinds of trouble during the month of December. Now, I'm going to put him away because, as you can see, I'm using my green screen today, and his hat is green, and so are his little gloves, and it's messing with the picture. Bye, Posh Pete. Posh Pete's saying goodbye. He's going to go over and sit with the puppies. Well, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to show you my silly elf, Posh Pete. This is Sarah, and welcome to Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. Now, I've got my green screen going today because I wanted you to see this picture of this deer. We've had a lot of snow, and this is a picture of it snowing. And you can see over on this other side here, there's some snow there. That is the edge of my deck. And so I took the picture at a little bit of an angle so we could get that young buck in the picture. I think he's probably not a very old one, maybe a couple of years. And what he's looking at intently in that picture is there's a group of does that are over there. Let's say it that way. That he's watching, and it's rutting season. But I couldn't resist with all the beautiful snow falling and him just standing there majestically, and to share that picture with you. So I'm glad you're here today. I see a lot of people: Karen and Tina, Stacy, Sinead, Crystal, Kimberly. Yep. Posh Pete's hat was invisible, Kimberly, because it was green, and I'm using my green screen today. Hi, Betty and Carolina. There's a young girl in our church that I just met. She's just precious, and she spells her name Carolina, but she pronounces it Carolina, and I think that's pretty. Hi, Paula. Hi, Dawn. Let's see, Bo, and there's Kimberly again. It is cool, Kimberly. You are right. Pat. Let's see, Betty, Tammy. We've had 2 snowflakes. That's what Carolina said. Well, we don't normally get this much snow here. I live south of Denver in a city called Parker, but I'm outside the city limits, so we're kind of up a little bit higher in altitude. And so a lot of times I will have 2 or 3 feet of snow up here, and then I'll drive down to town and they've just had a dusting. But I love it here. I love the snow, and the city here has always just been really fantastic at clearing off the snow. All right, the other thing you'll probably notice is that I'm wearing a shirt. We probably can't see it. It says Fur Mama. There we go. And my husband got it for me this week when we went to Michael's. And the reason that I'm wearing it today is I want you to remember that if you are wanting to purchase a puppy or dog for someone for Christmas, don't shop. Go to the rescues. Both of my Chihuahuas are rescue dogs. And there are tons, if you're looking even for full breed dogs, there are tons of them that are at rescues. And the sad thing about Christmas sometimes is people want to get their children or a friend or someone that they love a puppy. And then the puppy grows up and they can't take care of it anymore, and it ends up back at a rescue. And don't think that if you get a dog that's a year or 2 old that you can't train it. You can. And there are lots of different organizations that will help you do that. And so I just want to remind you to adopt. Don't shop when it comes to getting a new dog at Christmas time. All right, so let's get our cups. It's time to clink in. Let me turn mine so you can see it. It says Puppy Love, and I love it because it has a Chihuahua and a Cardinal. I love Chihuahuas and I love Cardinals, especially at Christmas time. Clink! I hope that those of you who celebrated Thanksgiving last week had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Even if you don't, it's the time of year where we just eat too much. I had so much turkey and cranberry sauce and sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. And the thing is, my favorite thing about Thanksgiving is always the pie. And my daughter-in-law made this wonderful, it's like a 4-layer delight pie. And it was chocolate, cream cheese, peppermint. And she had broken up peppermint pieces and put it all over the top. And she made homemade Cool Whip, or I guess it's whipped cream. It was just amazing. She left, after they went home, she left me a couple pieces, one for me and one for my husband. Unfortunately, my husband didn't get that second piece. I ate it. I love chocolate, I love peppermint, and I love cream cheese. So anyway, we had a great Thanksgiving. My granddaughter brought over a big bucket of slime, and we had a lot of fun with that. Alrighty, so we have a lot of things to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about is the December giveaway. I'm really excited about this because I have used this yarn before, and I gave some away last year, and so I wanted to do it again this year. So there's two things in the giveaway. One thing is this counter. This is a Susan Bates stitch counter, and I have one of these and I used it, and I need to get another battery for it because it really is handy. It's got a little strap and you stick it on your finger. Can you see that picture? It's kind of glossy where she's got it on her finger, and it makes it really nice. It's perfect for knitting or crochet or anything you do where you need to keep track of rows and rounds. And that's something we're going to talk about today as well. I had a question. She said, what's the difference between rows, rounds, and stitching in the round? And so we're going to talk about that in just a second. So don't leave after I tell you what the giveaway is, okay? Gotcha. All right, the yarn is, we're giving away 2 cakes of, see if I can get this without the light shining in it. You know what? I'm going to put it on my other camera. There we go. We're giving away 2 of these. This is the Holiday Pastry Puff from Hirschner's. And the color is called Peppermint, because you know I love peppermint. And the yarn itself is a 70-30. It's a 70% acrylic and a 30% wool. So you'll have enough here to make a hat and a scarf, or maybe a hat and a cowl that matches, and it'll be super warm and holiday colors. Pastry Puff yarn, Holiday from Hirschner's. You're going to get 2 of those. Each one has about 5 ounces on it. All right, so the giveaway is 2 of these cakes and the stitch counter. All right, so how do you get involved in the giveaway? Super simple, because you know I like things easy. All you have to do is comment on the Facebook live video, or comment on the video when I send it over to YouTube. All comments, no matter what you say, are entries. And we take all the names from both videos, we put them in that random generator, we take whatever name comes up. The only caveat is that if you've already won something this year, we'll take your name out and choose another name, okay? But this is the last giveaway of the year, so everybody's back in, even if you won, for next year, because this December is the last month of 2019. Can you believe that? It's almost 2020. All right, so that's our giveaway. I'm really excited about it. And this yarn is amazing, by the way. It's got the softness and the sheen of acrylic and the warmth of wool. And I love the blend. And this one is 70-30. So you've got 70% acrylic and 30% wool. So it's a really nice blend, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. All right, I'm going to click back over to this screen again because I want to talk to you about rows, rounds, and in the round. All right, so let me move this out of the way, and I'll grab that back later. Now, the difference between rows, rounds, and in the round? It's a very good question, and especially if you're just learning to crochet. When we say rows, we're talking about things that are stitched. You stitch a row, you turn, you stitch a row back and forth. It can be any kind of stitches. Even this granny square style on this headband is still stitched in rows. You stitch back and forth, all right? Now, when you stitch in the round, it's great for bags. This is one of our baskets that we just did. You're stitching in the round, not in the round. You're stitching around. You join, depending on what your stitch is. This one we did a chain 3. We did the next round, join, chain 3, did the next round. So this is stitching around. This is stitching rows. Where the confusion came in is she was asking me about what does stitching in the round mean. And the difference is when you're stitching something small like this, and this is just one of our little hats that's for decoration, you're stitching around and you don't join. Usually you'll have a stitch marker, unless you're really good at counting rows, which I'm not. I always have a stitch marker. You'll mark that row, you'll come around, and then you'll go right into that first stitch and keep going around, and you'll do your increases as you go. This is great for the little stuffed animals they call amigurumi. I can never get that name right. So I call them little stuffies. But the little, like when you're stitching in a ball and you want your stitches to be nice and close, you don't want that line that happens when you join. On this one, if you look at it real close, you can see the line is over here. And when you're stitching with single crochets and you're wanting to stitch, and usually when you're stitching in the round, you are stitching single crochets. And you don't want that line to show. Now you can see here, on this one, we changed to stitching where we're joining. And you can see here where we joined. But you can't up here because we stitched in the round. And that's the technique. So basically, stitching in rows is going back and forth. Stitching around, you're stitching around, but you're still joining. And when you're stitching in the round, you do not join. You just keep going as the pattern says. All right, so I hope that explained that to you. A lot of times I get questions, and they're things that I learned a long time ago, and I don't even think about it. And I love those questions because there's a lot of people who are on the beginning of their crochet journey, and so they have lots of things they want to learn and questions that maybe you and I take for granted. And so I want to go over those things. So anytime you have a question, you can contact me at www.poshpoochdesigns.com. There's a contact button. You can just push that contact button and it'll shoot me an email. The other place you can contact me is on the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page. Just shoot me a message and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I will say though, lately I've gotten some really weird ones, like too personal to even mention. So if it's super personal, you might want to send me an email. All right, are you ready to see what we did this week? All right, let me grab this board again. So what we did is we went back in and we updated our Happy Little Scrubby pattern. A friend of mine who is a beginner, she's learning, she asked if I could update the pattern because of the old style and she wanted the new style. And I said, sure. And so I did this on Friday. I knew a lot of people would probably be out of town. Let me click over to that other camera again so you can see it better. I knew a lot of people, like I said, would probably be out of town or visiting family, and then it'd be a good time to just update the scrubby pattern. And it's done in circles around. The front is done in cotton. The back is done in any kind of scrubby yarn that you have. You put the two together and then you just stitch around. It makes a really nice scrubby. This one has been through the wash. That's why it's puffy. And one of the neat things about cotton is it always works better after it's been used one time. So when you're going to give somebody a scrubby, either tell them that or go ahead and toss it in with your towels and wash it. Because for some reason, once you wash cotton yarn, it's like it wakes it up and activates those moisture drawing something in them and makes it way better and makes it much more absorbent. Okay. And so you can see these two look a little flat and this one looks a little puffy because I threw it in the wash. And it's just something I learned, that they seem like they always work better once they've gone through the wash. And these are super fun. And you can put together a gift basket like this one is done in Christmas colors if you want to, or for someone who has a housewarming or just getting married or just getting their apartment for the first time or something. Make some scrubbies, some dish towels, and put them together in a little basket, and they would just love those. Alrighty? All right. So the other thing we did this week was we updated our Snowflake star pattern. And this is a nice size. It measures about 6 by 6. I keep going off screen, don't I? Anywho, it measures about 6 by 6. And they're a great size to use as a doily for a candy dish. Or a fancy washcloth if you've got guests coming and you want to have something fancy. They also, you can stiffen them. And I'm actually going to bring you back over to this other camera so I can talk a little bit about that real quick. This is the one that we did in the video. And what you can do, if it's not as crisp as you would like it, for instance, here's a silver one that I did. And this one has not been blocked. So what you can do, if you want to block it and make it a little bit crisper, just excuse me, just spritz it with some water. Don't get it soaking wet, just dampen it. And pin it to a blocking board. If you don't have a blocking board, you can use a couple of dish towels. Or you can get a piece of cardboard and put it underneath the dish towel. Because if you put it right on the cardboard, it gets kind of mushy because your star is wet. And then it can be a lot crisper. But if you want to use this to make, say, a tree topper, where you can take 2 of these and put them together and stitch partly around them so you can slide it onto the tree. What you can do is you can make a mixture of 50% white school glue and 50% water. You can mix it together. You can drench this in that, flatten it out, and block it so that it can be nice and sharp and crisp. And if you want to use some glitter, this one has sparkle in it, so I wouldn't put any glitter in this one. But you can just take your cheap glitter. I like to use the white and the silver. And before it dries, you can just flick that glitter on it. And as it dries, that glitter will dry with it. And so then you've made a glittery star that you can use for decoration. And you can use for your tree or whatever you want. And it'll be nice and stiff so you can hang it up. This is a really simple pattern. It's basically stitched around, and by the way you stitch it makes it just a really simple yet elegant pattern. All right. So that's, my voice is just all scratchy today. Hang on 2 seconds. So those are the only 2 patterns that we did today, and or this week, because of course Thanksgiving. Now, some things that are going to be happening in the future. We're getting ready to finish up our crochet along that we've been doing for a year, where we're doing our 6-inch squares. We have 1 more square for December, and then what we're going to do when we finish our December square in January, I'm going to show you how I'm going to put mine together to make a blanket. Now, you can do my way, or you can do something that works better for you. All right. And so we're going to be finishing that up, and then we're going to be starting something new for 2020. We're not going to really do what you would call a crochet along. We're going to do what I'm going to call washcloth of the month. And so what we're going to do is each month we're going to make a different washcloth. And I would really like to get you to post your pictures more. And what you can do is, I'll be posting those in the group PPD Puppy Love Crochet on Facebook. And I get questions all the time, where can we post our pictures? You can always post them in the group. The thing about the group is I've had to make it a private group because we had such trouble with spamming people in the group and other people posting inappropriate things. And so all your posts get looked at and then posted. All right. We try to look at them quickly. We try to get them in there. But what I'm going to do is each month when we post that washcloth of the month, it'll be in there, and all you have to do is underneath that picture, go ahead and post your picture that you made of that washcloth of the month. And they're not going to all be, squares or anything like that. Some of them will, but they're all going to be different. And what I'm going to try to do, and I've already been working on it because, I'm like overscheduled and I do everything way in advance. I've already been designing some, and I want us to also learn some new stitches as we do those washcloths of the month. So, and it'll be in such a way that you can take that stitch and make something else out of it than just the washcloth, maybe a hat or a scarf or whatever you want to do with it. But it'll be a way where you can learn a new stitch and make something useful. All right. Okay, so that's the plans for the crochet along. Okay, now next week we're going to do what I'm going to call a crochet together. And I'm kind of excited about this because I love Christmas and I love December and I love the snow. And so what we're going to do, there are 2 more weeks, I think, might be 3. I have to look on my calendar. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to make something that you can just use up your scraps of yarn and make something fun. And so next week, for sure, I've got something, and the week after that, I've got something planned where we're going to do that together. And I like to call them a crochet together. And next week, we're going to make a cute little ornament. And the week after that, we're going to make an applique. And of course, an applique can always be an ornament too. And it's a lot of fun to do these together, and you can use up your scrap yarns. And so what I just tell you is you're going to need an H hook, which is your 5.0 millimeter crochet hook, and whatever leftover medium weight number 4 yarns you want to use. Because just because it's Christmas doesn't mean you have to make things in red and green, right? Although I really like red and green. So anyway, I wanted to kind of give you a heads up of what we got planned. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, on Tuesday, we're going to be announcing the winner of the December giveaway. So make sure you comment here, even if all you say is, I want to win that yarn. You go ahead and do that. You can comment on the video here on Facebook, or you can comment on the video on YouTube. All right. So I hope you enjoyed my picture. I keep looking the wrong way. And if you'll notice, right down over there, my web page is backwards, and that's because I flipped the picture so the deer would be going the other direction. And I didn't realize it until after I got started that it was backwards, but that's okay. I don't care. You know me, we have to go with the flow and have fun anyway. All right, well, that's all I've got for you today. That's an awful lot. Just remember, comment, and in 2 weeks from today, I'll announce the winner of the December giveaway. Well, thank you all for being with me today. It means the world to me that you watch my videos. And like I always say, I can't do what I love without you. So thank you.